Now, let's move on to the next point, that is sale of goods on approval or sale or written basis. Okay, this is a very interesting one. Okay, in this particular thing, we do it actually. Many of us would be doing this. Suppose we go to a shop or a mall to purchase a gift for a friend. Say, for example, a shirt. Okay, we are not sure, it's a gift, right? So we are not sure whether that shirt will be fit or that person will like it or not. So what do we say to the owner, shopkeeper, that if my friend doesn't like it or if it doesn't fit him, then what do? We will return it. Okay, so this is something which is called as a sale of goods on approval or written basis. So seller allows you to take it and to just approve it. Okay, to take it at your home, approve it, and then return it without using. If you are returning it, if you use it, it is assumed that you have purchased. Understood? Very clear with this. Many a times we do it, right? Okay, so this is something which is called as sale of goods on approval or sale of written basis. Now let's see how does it work. Whenever buyer takes his goods at home, okay, seller will give him time, whether you have to inform me in a day or within a week, otherwise I'll consider it as a sold. So this is time frame given by the seller. But if seller do not give the time frame, then also the time should be reasonable. Like today you take the goods at home and you keep it for months and you forget all about it. Suddenly when you are doing Diwali cleaning, you find out that the good is with me. I have paid for that, but I am not using this good. I don't want. You go back to return it. Will he take? No, he will say, even I forgot. I have assumed this goods as sold. I'll not take it written. Hence, the time should be reasonable time. Very clear with this? Understood? So, when this sale on approval basis turns into sale, when buyer confirms that I want this goods, okay, or he keeps it for long and does not say anything about it, or when time has lapsed. So, in all three conditions, sale on approval basis will turn into sale. Very clear with this? Understood? Now, in one more condition, it will be deemed to be sale. When buyer, without saying anything, without confirming, without approving it, uses that goods or pledges that, okay, then it will be deemed or assumed that he had purchased the goods. Very clear with this? Like simple example. Peter is a jeweler. Okay. John comes to his shop to buy a necklace for his wife. Okay. But he's not sure whether she'll like it or not. So John takes that particular necklace on the approval basis. Okay. Then his wife does not like the necklace. Okay. Then, but what he does is Peter goes to his home, John's home, to confirm whether he's returning the necklace or he's keeping the necklace. There is one third person over there called as a Chris. He is present in the house. Now, in front of the Peter, John pledges that necklace with the Chris. Pledges means girvi rakhna. It's called as a pledge. Okay, so he pledges that necklace with the Chris. He does not confirm about the sale to the Peter. So what the John has done, he has done something, some act, that he has accepted the goods. So over here, Peter will assume that this is a sale and he can ask for money from the John. Very clear with this? Understood? Any doubts? Okay, next. This is ulta of what we have learned just now. Cash only or written. This means what? Either you give me cash or you return my goods. This is also a furtherance of sale on approval basis only. Okay, in this particular example, Peter had given a necklace to the John for the approval, correct? Over here, John cannot pledge it. If he pledges the goods, then it will be an invalid pledge. Why? Because this particular transaction is cash only or written basis. Either he has to return it or accept it, but accept it by giving the cash. He cannot do any other thing. Very clear with this? Understood? So over here, if John wants to keep that necklace, before pledging, he has to pay Peter first. And then he can do anything with that. Okay, this is called as a cash only or return. Okay, now let's move on to the next section. Reservation of right to the disposal. Reservation of right means what? As I told you earlier, when the goods are a certain deliverable state, the ownership in goods passes. Along with the ownership, the risk also passes. The property in goods also passes. But sometimes what happens is, when seller don't get their payments, then it becomes very difficult for them to go to the court and take the payment, etc. Because we have studied that the property does not wait for the price to be paid completely, correct? So some of the sellers, what do? Is they put a contingent, they put a clause in the agreement, in the contract. Till the time my payment will be not paid, okay, till the time no payment would be made, the property in the goods will not be passed. So what they are keeping with them, this is something which is called as the right of disposal. Understood? They are reserving the right. They are, what they are doing, they are postponing the transfer of ownership from seller to the buyer. Very clear with this? Understood? 100% sure? Let's see an example. Peter sends furniture to the John's company by a truck. Okay. He instructs the driver that he should not deliver the furniture to the company without receiving payment. Okay. So he will not give the furniture without receiving the payment. Over there, they reached the John's company. Okay. Then truck driver unloaded the furniture. Clear? So is property transferred? The answer is no. The property will not be transferred till the time the payment is made, because this is something which is called as reservation of right to disposal. He will dispose the goods only when the payment has been made. Very clear with this? Okay. Okay, understood? So, this is called as reservation of right to disposal. When John's company will make payment to the truck driver on behalf of Peter, only then he will transfer the property along with the ownership to the John's company. No, he did not log in. Maybe there is some connectivity issue by his side. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is also something which we call as exceptions to the transfer of ownership. It does not get immediately transferred when there is a right of reservation of disposal. Okay, now when we are shipping the goods or delivering it via railway administration or courier or flight or whatever, okay, and when we have issued a bill of lading has been issued, that means that he has received or retained the right of disposal. Clear? Understood? Like for example, if he has issued bill of lading or a bill of exchange on favor of a buyer, and he has instructed the person, if he does not honor my bill of exchange, then property will not be passed. Understood? So goods will not be passed unless and until he honors the bill of exchange. It will be returned back. This is called as right to disposal. Hi Darshan. Okay. Now risk passes with the property. So let's begin with section number 26, risk passes with the property. As discussed earlier, when a seller transfers the property or the ownership from him to the buyer, along with the ownership, something silently gets passed. That is a risk. So risk always passes with the property. Okay. Like for example, we are owning a house, we are owning a car, we are owning a furnitures. If anything happens to them, can we go and claim from somebody else? Answer is no. We are the owner. We have to bear the risk. So simple logic. When property in the goods is passed from the seller to the buyer, risk also passes. Okay. Now there are exceptions to the rules. There are two exceptions there. Okay, remember. What is a basic rule? Risk passes with the property or risk passes with the ownership. But there are two exceptions to the rule. Okay, let's quickly see the first exception. The first exception says that when there is a default by any party in regards to delivery of goods or taking delivery of goods, how will seller default to give the delivery, delay the delivery? How will buyer default in taking the delivery? Understood? So there can be default on either of the parties, that is buyer or a seller, in taking the delivery or in giving the delivery. There is default or anybody, then whoever is in default, okay, the person has to bear the loss. Like there is a case study, Denby Hamilton and Company Limited versus Barden. So this you can quote in your exams if the question has come. How will the question come? Risk passes with the property. Okay, comment. You cannot say yes because it has two exceptions. Okay, so let's discuss the case. The case is like this, that seller had agreed to supply 30 tons of apple juices by samples. Okay, then seller crushed 30 tons of apples for making a juice, correct, and then filled them in the cask. Okay, then after some installments had delivered, buyer refused to take the further deliveries. He said he don't want them. So Barden would have said, I don't want the deliveries. But apple is perishable in nature. Everybody knows that. Okay. So what happened? It became putrid. Okay. Now you tell me that the delivery or the risk has passed or not. Even if the property was still with the seller, but the buyer has to bear the loss. Why so? Because he defaulted in taking the delivery of the juice, because of which it got putrid. Very clear with Darshan? You are understanding? Okay, yeah. Please, can you please confirm you are getting my point? Okay, maybe you are having issue in your phone. Fine, no worries. Okay, now let's move on to the next exception. First exception we have seen that when there is default of a buyer or a seller in giving delivery or taking delivery, the person who made the default have to bear the loss. So property in the goods has not been passed. Second exception, okay, irrespective of the fact that property in goods has been transferred or not, it does not matter. Okay, the possessor, that means the person who is possessing the property. See over here, possession is different and ownership is different. I can possess somebody else's mobile phone, my friend's mobile phone, and keep it for 7 days. Does it mean I'm the owner of the goods? No. I'm having possession of the goods. So the goods does not belong to me, correct? But as I am possessing the goods, I am possessor of the goods, it is my duty as a bailee. If you remember, you might have learned Contract Act, and in that special contracts called as bailment, there were two parties, bailer and a bailee. Okay, bailer used to bail the goods to the bailee for some specific purpose, and bailee is a person who does not own the property but does possess the property. Understood? So it is my duty as a bailee to take care of others' goods. If I fail to do so, even if goods are not mine, then risk is not mine, but still I have to bear the loss. Understood? Clear with this? Say, for example, you go to a shop to buy a mobile phone. Nobody will give you mobile phone on the written basis, but still, one seller is very friendly to you and he gives you. Now you say to him that my mobile phone is not working properly, so can you give me your phone to use it for 10 days? And the seller says, okay, I'll give you, but just for 10 days only. So now you are not the owner, but the risk has been transferred to you. Why? Because of the exceptions to the rule, because you are a bailee, and now it is your duty to take care of the goods properly. If you don't take care of a phone, anything happens to the phone, even if you're not the owner, you have to indemnify the owner. Very clear with this? So these are the two exceptions. Please remember this. Okay. Now let's move on to the section number 27. Okay. Transfer of the title. Title means what? Ownership is also called as a title. Okay. I'll give you a simple example. See, this is my bottle. Correct. This belongs to me. Can I sell it to you? Answer is yes, I can, because the title of this bottle belongs to me. Same way, let's take a big example. Suppose there is a uh, thief, a car thief, who steals the car and then sells it. It happens, no? Illegally, everything happens. But while we are talking legally, when car does not belong to him, it's a stolen car. Can he sell it to somebody else? The answer is no. So when a person is not having ownership or a title to that particular property, can he give good title to somebody else? The answer is no. Okay. So there is a Latin maxim which says that nemo dat quod non habet. It means that one cannot give what he does not have. Okay, so if I don't have property or if I don't have the title to this particular bottle, can I give good title to you? The answer is no, I cannot give. Very clear with this? Understood? But there are certain exceptions to the rule. Okay, now what are the exceptions to the rule? Let's see that. Yeah. These are the exceptions of section 27. Section 27 says nemo dat quod non habet. That means no one can give something which he does not have. But over here, exception means even a non-owner can transfer a good title to somebody else. How is it possible? Let's see. The first exception is sale by mercantile agent. Have you all heard about a mercantile agent? Yes, you know what is mercantile agent? Okay. In the special contract, we have contract of agency. Okay. So the particular contract agent who is working on behalf of a principal is also called as a mercantile agent. Now, when he will be called as a mercantile agent? When the principal is dealing in goods. Okay. And it is duty of his agent to sell the goods on behalf of principal. So principal will give the goods to the agent, correct? So what is it transferring? Is it transferring the ownership? No, it's transferring the possession of the goods. So agent is having only a possession, correct? He is not a owner, but whatever sale he does, a correct sale. Why it is correct? Because this is the exception to the rule number 27, which says that even if mercantile agent is not having a good title to the goods, but if he is working with the permission of his principal or the owner of the goods, then he can pass good title to the other parties. Very clear with this? Understood? So this is the first exception to the rule. Now, the second exception, sale by one of the joint owners. What is joint owners? When a property is purchased by more than one person, okay, that is called as a joint ownership. Okay, now when you become the chartered accountant, then you hire a flat, okay, with your friend. You are living with your friend. You purchase television, refrigerator and all, but you will not pay alone, right? Your friend will also pay. So you are owning refrigerator and television along with your friend. So that is called as a joint ownership. Very clear with this? Understood? Now, if one of the joint owner wants to sell the property, actually he is the owner of only half of the property. So he has to sell the entire property only. Correct? You have to sell the entire fridge only. You cannot cut it into two pieces, right? And sell your part. So you will sell the entire fridge only. It will be also called as a sale by a non-owner, but still it is valid if buyer is not aware of the fact that you are one of the joint owner. Understood? If he knows that you are one of the joint owner, then good title will not be passed because it is his duty to take permission from both the sellers. Understood? And remember, if buyer is acting in a good faith, he does not know about the fact that you are a non-owner. Okay, then the property will be passed on. Very clear with this? Okay. Now the next one. Next exception, the exception number 3. Till now we saw two exceptions, the mercantile agent and the second one was joint owners. Now third exception is sale by a person in possession of goods under a voidable contract. Now this we will understand with the help of example only. Okay. There was a person called as a Peter. What he does, he frauds his friend. Okay, friend's name is Olivia, and obtains her gold diamond ring. Frauds her and obtains what? A gold diamond ring. You know what is a fraud under the Contract Act, correct? So now Olivia consent was not there, so it's not a correct contract. So when the contract is not with the consent, you know that agreed party can any time make the contract as voidable. Yes, everybody knows about it, correct? So now Olivia can void the contract, but she is also sleeping over her rights. She is not doing so. Okay. She knows that the fraud is there, but she does not void the contract. Before that only, before Olivia voiding the contract, Peter sells that ring to some third person called as Julia. Now Julia is unaware about the fact of fraud. She has acted in good faith. She is an innocent buyer, remember. So when buyer is innocent, then the buyer will get a good title and Olivia cannot claim the ring from the Julia because in spite of knowing the fact of fraud, she did not void the contract on time. Clear? Understood? So this is a third exception. Now, the next exception, sale by person who has already sold the goods but continues to have possession. Okay, this particular also we can understand with the help of example. That person has sold the goods. Okay, so seller has sold the goods, and still the possession is with the seller only. Buyer does not take initiative to take the possession of the goods. Ownership has been transferred, remember, but possession has not been transferred. So what does that particular seller does is he sells that property to the another buyer, the second buyer. So now there are two buyers, first buyer and second buyer. Second buyer takes the property with the good faith. He is not aware that these goods are already been sold to the earlier buyer. Understood? In this case, the second buyer will get the possession of a property and ownership and good title as well, because it was a duty of the first seller, first buyer, to take possession of the goods. Very clear with this? Understood? This was the fourth exception. Let's move on to the fifth exception. Sale by buyer obtaining possession before the property in goods has been wasted in him. Okay, over here the example will be ulta. Okay, over here what has happened is seller has given possession to the buyer, but ownership has not been passed to the buyer till now. Understood? The example will be like this. Peter has given the diamond ring to the Olivia. Peter is a seller, Olivia is a buyer. Okay, she has not paid the entire amount, and the condition is that property will not be passed till the entire amount is paid. But the ring is with Olivia. Okay, so she is having possession of goods without ownership. Clear? Understood? Now, Olivia, what does she do is she sells that ring before having ownership of that. Understood? So she sells the ring to the other person. Now, second buyer, if he takes the delivery of the goods in good faith without knowing anything about the lien or pledge or original seller, etc., then he will get a good title. Remember that. Very clear with this? Understood? So what will be the option available to the seller? To recover money from the Olivia. So Peter will have to recover the ring's money from the Olivia. That is all he can do. But he cannot get back his ring from the second buyer. Very clear with this? Now, the estoppel. This is also very, very important. This we will understand with the help of an example. Okay. There is a person called as a Peter, a John, and an Oliver. All those three are having a conversation. Okay. Now, Peter tells the John that he owns BMW. Actually, BMW is owned by Oliver. Okay. Who is the owner of BMW? Oliver. But Peter tells John that he owns BMW. Okay. And he wants to sell the BMW car. John agrees to buy. Okay. Then later on, the transaction is done. Later on, Oliver comes to claim the car from the John, saying that Peter was not the real owner. So when he is not a real owner, how can he pass a good title? Okay. But now Oliver is stopped from saying that. Why? Because he should have stopped the Peter to pretending him as a buyer. Very clear with this? Understood? So Peter should not have done that, and if Peter does that, the real owner should have stopped from doing it earlier. Earlier he does not stop him, so now he is stopped from saying that he was the original owner, and he will not get back his car. Then what the way he has, what does the remedy he have? He can go to the court and then claim money from the Peter. That is all he can do. Okay, so this was the next exception. Okay,